welcome to another episode of Nerds at the Round Table. Sitting with me, as always, is my good friend Jack Rooney. How are you?
What's going on, Fred?
I, myself, am Fred Sullivan, and this is another episode of Nerds at the Round Table where we talk about geek stuff and nerdy stuff, all that good stuff, is what I like to say.
If this is your first episode of Nerds, welcome. I know this must be very exciting for you, and we hope to deliver a good show. If this is not your first episode of Nerds, this is probably going to be really confusing, because we seem to be missing a person.
There is a person missing right here.
Yeah.
We have put pictures in his place, so hopefully that's enough.
So he took everything else now.
So, obviously you've already heard on the last episode of Nerds at the Round Table, Sean has gotten a job at IGN. And we are left with the scraps of what he's left us.
Yeah, so, I mean, ultimately I think we're both pretty confident we can deliver a good show.
I think so.
And with this week we have something really exciting to talk about. We're going to be talking about E3 reactions.
Correct.
And yeah, I mean, this wall looks a little bare right now, but we'll get it filled up with some posters and shit like that.
Part of the adjustment period is basically what we're trying to say. So, you know, the place that we had before was something that you saw, if you followed us since the beginning, we went from a corner to the windows. So there was some transition.
To the sweat.
Dripping down.
All right.
Oh, skate. Oh, sorry.
Same old Fred, same old Jack. Same old shit.
There's nothing changing. There's just not going to be Sean here, pretty much. But with that said, there's going to be adjustments that we're going to make throughout this, you know. So it might look like shit right now, and I apologize for that, but we will make it better, and we hope that all of you will find this at least as enjoyable, maybe a little less enjoyable. I don't know, but I'm hoping so.
And of course, like, we wish the best to Sean or whatever. Keep following him on Twitter and stuff like that. But follow us harder. Follow us like super hard, because in the future we're actually both pretty excited about this. We're planning on, we'd like to do a few more things. I tend to be over at Fred's house all the time. He cannot get me to leave, so ideally
he doesn't leave.
Ideally
he sleeps here. He doesn't ask.
I mean, like, even when they kick me out, I just go sleep under the bushes and wake up the next morning.
He takes his pants off while we're going to bed, and we're like, oh, yeah. So it's like this.
I'm like, this is my bedroom now. I know you call it a living room. I call it my bedroom.
It's awkward.
But anyway, I'm here a lot more often, so ideally we'll be able to record a few more shows or you'll hear things as we come up with them.
So it's a transition period, as we said before. We're hoping to be able to provide a little bit more content than just the podcast every week. We have some ideas that we're kind of tossing around right now. One of them being a segment called Nerding Out.
Yeah.
That is one thing. Basically, we hear news. We talk about it for a couple of minutes. You know, nothing as long-winded as the podcast. We will probably mention some of the stuff on the podcast as well. But Nerding Out is going to be a reaction to a single piece of news. So. Yeah, I
mean, ideally, like, I know we haven't discussed it fully yet, but I'd like to do things kind of beyond video game content. Like, when you hear something about a show, or like it doesn't even have to be news necessarily to me. It's just like, when you discover something in your world that you are, like, nerding out about, like, you really want to talk about it. We record a quick, like, 10-minute video, you try and convince me to care, maybe we both care, and we're like, we really want to share it with you guys.
Those episodes that we both care could be awesome.
Yeah.
The one episode that one of us cares and you're trying to convince the other person.
Oh my god, where I'm like dragging Fred through the mud on some hot
I don't care about beer. I just don't. No, so it's something that we have an idea of. We're looking into some other things that we want to do as well. You know, obviously with a lot of these shows that are coming back, I am a big TV watcher, as you guys already know.
Can't get him to stop.
No, but, you know, for example, like the news with The Flash, the first episode of the season, the name of it, the title. Something I didn't even hear about that.
I didn't even hear about it. We'll figure that out.
Stuff like that. Yeah. So it's something that I would have to tell him about. He'd be like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then he'll do his typical thing where he just doesn't care.
Is that your Jack voice? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, cool.
No,
cool,
I don't have a Jack voice, per se. That was just the voice I want.
Sure. All right, cool.
But anyway, we should probably get to the actual
let's get to
meat of this.
Okay, so this episode of Nerds at the Round Table, like I said, I was going to try and... I was initially going to intro this episode, and then I fucked it up immediately. I was going to try and put a number on it, but I don't know what number
we really don't know.
In the 40s, 50s?
No, so the number that I have for this episode, which is probably horribly wrong, is 54.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 54.
Oh, jeez, Rick.
It's probably very wrong,
Yeah.
but that's the number that we have at the moment,
If
right?
that's like an estimate, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
But this episode, we'll say 54, is going to be all about E3 2016. It's a little bit after the fact, but if you were curious about what our opinions are, here you go.
I'm surprised if you do.
Yeah, but stick around.
Cool. I appreciate you.
So I figured we'd just go in press conference order.
Sure.
Starting, of course, with EA, which aired their press conference first on Sunday, right?
So, yes. I think we can all kind of agree that it was great for some people, not so good for some, I would say maybe a lot of people.
You know who it was great for? Star Wars fans. Because,
No.
oh, fuck. There was so much Star Wars stuff in that conference. And I know, I care about Star Wars. I know you care about Star Wars.
You're kidding me, right?
Okay, no, but they're
I'm hoping you're being sarcastic.
I'm no, there's a decent amount of Star Wars stuff.
No.
They're talking about Battlefield.
You really want to
go ahead.
All right. So,
end the podcast right now.
We're
I
done.
can't
Nerds
agree.
is over. No. So, first off, they're like, we have 3 studios working on 3 games right now. We have 4 seconds of footage. Enjoy.
Yeah. Okay, no.
Fuck off.
I know what you mean. Ooh, our hands can touch now. We're usually not this close.
Oh, okay. This is.
dear.
Oh, your hands are clammy.
It's so warm.
Oh, God.
Anyway, okay, so no, but according to the site I was looking at, there are at least 7 different EA studios working on Star Wars games right now.
Yeah. No,
There's they are going to work that license.
Oh my God.
Until it is dried up.
Yeah. But the ones that I'm considering, the ones that are big titles,
Yeah.
X-wing, X-wing
VR for
Yeah.
Sony or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't even take that on the title of that. I was just like X-Wing thing VR.
So I was like, cool. If I ever get if I get the PlayStation VR, then rad.
Yeah.
I'll play that. But the 3 games that I'm looking at are the ones from Respawn Studios.
Yeah.
I needed to know something about that. They didn't give me anything.
Yeah.
They literally gave me nothing.
Okay.
Visceral. The one from Visceral, I believe, is the third person.
It's
actually.
exciting enough to know that it's just exciting because it's happening. Amy Hennig, Visceral, Star Wars. Those are the 3. If I were to have a word cloud of exciting words, those would be 3 of the biggest ones.
Yes. And then, for the life of me, the third one is escaping me at the moment. But the fact that they talked about Star Wars so deeply, right?
Yeah.
And the only thing that they really announced with it was, hey, Battlefront 2 is in development. But don't worry, we're not going to mention their single player yet. We're going to give you what we all really wanted. Just Star Wars Episode 7 stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm crazy about, right? I mean, first of all, everybody loved Battlefront. Everybody loved it.
Oh my God,
Nobody had a
overwhelming.
single complaint about Battlefront. So to hear that there's another one coming, it's just I'm over the moon.
Yes.
No, but okay. So there was that Star Wars talk. We're gonna be trying to move pretty quickly on this one, but FIFA. They talked about FIFA.
Yeah, FIFA having that new story mode is cool.
Does it make you want to buy the game?
No, I mean, I'm not a soccer fan though, so that doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah.
But for those people that do buy FIFA, that could be an awesome new addition.
Sure.
But
I appreciate that they are you can't complain that they're not trying to innovate.
Yeah.
In this, I mean, they're doing something similar to what a lot of sports games are doing recently with that single player kind of career mode, take your character all the way through their career,
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't say they're not trying to do something.
No, they are trying to make new stuff.
It's at least it's more than a roster update.
I'll tell you though, the game they didn't care about, even putting really any updates in it, was Madden.
Oh yeah.
They were the only thing they spoke about with Madden, right? If you didn't catch it, obviously this is weeks after E3 by now, so you probably did. But
I've caught it.
Madden's thing was just there's esports and there's tournaments.
Yeah. God, what? Okay, so talking in more meta conversation about the conference itself, I didn't like it at all.
No.
We have
Pacing was weird.
2 or 3 other things that we want to talk about with EA, but the pace. Yeah, I agree. The pacing was weird. People complimented them on their swapping back and forth to London or whatever. I didn't think
Technically, in a technical aspect,
oh, it worked.
Very
yeah.
impressive.
Oh,
very well
cool.
done.
But I don't think that adds much to a conference that you're watching over the internet because you're not there. You're not let's check in with our crowd, and it's No, I'm not there.
You're like, oh, cool, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, for those couple thousand people that are in attendance.
Yeah, it probably means something more, but
Yeah,
but yeah, no, I thought the announcements were mostly about things that you already expected.
Yeah. Titanfall 2.
Titanfall 2, Mass Effect,
Andromeda, which
was kind of disappointing. Yeah, it was actually for something that we already knew was coming. It's something that I'm genuinely excited about. A lot of times I'm like a little bit more sarcastic, and that's shitty of me. But there's something that I'm already pretty excited about. God, kind of a disappointing show.
Yeah, and so that was the thing, right? Is I have been on record saying that I've never really played the Mass Effect games.
You should.
Before. The thing is that it's now 3 games in. That's many plethora of hours to put into it, right?
First of all, good word.
Plethora. plethora.
Oh, I've got a plethora of other words.
Oh, I have a plethora of words.
All right, clearly that was the only one.
Yeah,
Did you look at the thesaurus before you... Okay, go ahead.
So, what was
you don't care that much about Mass Effect.
Oh, yeah. So, Mass Effect 1, I actually watched one of my friends, Sydney, play it. And I was like, it was just the conversations that he was having. And I was like, he's been doing this for like an hour.
Yeah.
Is this the entire game?
No, see, the thing... Okay, so there are a lot of conversations in it, and the first couple hours of that game are pretty exposition heavy.
Yeah.
I don't remember it super well now, but I remember those first couple hours being like, okay, cool, this stuff is happening, do these things, go to the Citadel. And then you arrive at the Citadel, and it's just like a couple hours of talking to people.
Yeah, so...
And like, that is... I mean, if you're an RPG fan, you're like, I didn't even notice it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you enjoy RPGs, but they're not like your...
They're not my go-to.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're your bread and butter.
Yeah.
for
Although I'm playing
me,
Stick of Truth right now.
that's a special kind of RPG.
It's like a very lackluster, like not really an RPG.
It's a streamlined RPG.
Yeah,
a lot of people would say.
I enjoy it. I'm enjoying it.
And then that's something against the game. I think it was one of the best releases of its year. So
I'm learning that now.
yeah,
A little late.
Oh, you didn't play it?
No.
Oh, it was real good.
Mm-hmm.
You folks get on that. Pre-order. We're gonna get to it later, but pre-order the Fractured Butthole.
Just
so
say
you
it
can
as
play
it's
that.
supposed to be said.
Yeah.
Fractured butthole.
Well, no, I mean, I like the joke of the like inflection.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. Okay.
Butthole.
Butthole. They talked about EA Originals, which I think is pretty cool.
Fee looks awesome.
Is it Fee?
I'm pretty sure it's Fee.
Fe.
Is it Fe? Or is it Iron?
Oh
Ooh.
dear.
Ooh.
Okay, but yeah, no, that looks cool. It's like an action platformer journey-esque thing. I don't know if I really got it.
It's so...
But the fact that I didn't get it turns me on.
Anytime.
Just like with the women. No.
So it's interesting because I like the art style for it.
Yeah.
But I wish it was a little less like monotone in terms of colors because basically the forest and all the creatures inside of it are like this all cool colors like purple, blues, all that kind of stuff.
A little bit like Ori and the Blind Forest or something. A lot of people were saying.
Yeah, but the antagonists to the thing like try to silence everything, but they're also everything is warm colors that they like attack or they do.
Okay. Yeah.
So I just wish it was a little bit more colorful. But outside of that, the game looks really interesting. I'll say that.
I imagine during actual gameplay, you'll see a lot more of those colors pop, and like it'll be less sparse.
I wish they had a little bit more details as to like release date and everything like that. But the guy was very nervous up there, and
well, that's how you know he's like a legitimate developer.
Yeah,
like
that's why I was like, props.
He's not like a PR head or something.
No, I was like, thank you for at least coming out.
Yeah,
like.
Yeah, and so like his game is one part of this like EA Originals initiative, which is exciting in that like I don't know, I love indie games, like you've loved a few in your time.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
To see more games like that funded is exciting to me.
Yes.
I'm a little bit nervous about like the big company like infecting it. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to make it sound too bad.
You're being a little too political, man.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to see that like corrupt the spirit of the indie titles by them trying to make it maybe a little bit more commercial, a little bit more like viable on like for their investors.
Yeah.
Whereas like I feel like Sony when they invest in an indie game and like get them on the platform, it's just kind of like, yeah, man, make your game. Like that's all you ever hear from the people who work at Sony. So
this is obviously their first go around at it.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
See what happens. But it's exciting stuff.
Yeah. Another game that a lot of people are going to be excited about is probably Titanfall 2. Yeah, I say a lot of people. I wonder how many people are like in comparison to other first-person shooter titles that are going to be out, especially even this year with Battlefield 1. Aren't they in like the same window?
So Titanfall 2 comes out in November.
Yeah.
And Battlefield is in October.
Yeah, so they're like practically on top
it's
of
like
each other.
a little bit of a month. over.
Okay, a month. I think it's a month or less. I think it's like
I think Titanfall 2 is like the 11th.
Yeah, I thought it was early November and
but Battlefield is also early October.
Okay, all right, yeah. I mean, like, I'm more interested in. Oh, never mind. Am I more interested in Are you more interested in Battlefield 1 or Titanfall 2? If you had to pick one. Okay.
Titanfall 2. Reason being is because I enjoyed the gameplay of Titanfall 2. I liked, because it was the first one to really introduce that, like what Call of Duty was kind of doing this year.
Yeah,
where
the wall stuff, the maneuverability.
It felt very smooth.
Mm-hmm.
This time around, it even looks more refined.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. The Titans this time actually having like swords and whatnot. Awesome.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, like, it looks a little Transformer-y to me, but, like, it's like,
whatever.
No, yeah, I agree.
But I'm down with it. I'll try
I say it like
I'll
it's
dip my toe in.
but it does look a little, it's,
Yeah.
I'm more interested in Titanfall 2, I think, because I really, when I had an Xbox One, before I sold it,
You did.
I did. It was a rage sell. People rage. I don't
We've
rage
already
quit
spoken
games.
about this
I
on the
rage
show.
quit consoles.
Yeah, we've
Yeah, I don't need to-
we talked about this on the show.
But
But
yeah.
that was something.
Yeah, go back and find that story if you're wondering how that happened. But anyway, yeah, when I had an Xbox One, I played Titanfall extensively, the original Titanfall.
Yeah.
Whereas Battlefield 4 was busted for a little while, and so I just wasn't particularly interested when Battlefield Hardline came out. I just didn't really care. And because I don't really care, I'm less inclined to be interested in Battlefield 1. But that said, the World War I aspect of it is
awesome.
actually very enticing to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like those two segments of my like feelings about the game are fighting it out, and I'm more genuinely excited for Titanfall 2. But I could see how, like, if I find out a little bit more about Battlefield 1, I might come around.
So Battlefield 1, like, just the idea of it being like an alternate reality of World War I is an awesome idea, and some of the vehicles that they included into it and all this look awesome. You know? But the thing is, and it's always been my gripe with Battlefield, with the exception of Battlefield 2, when you played Rush mode, Bad Company 2. Sorry, let me clarify that. In that game, when you played Rush, you got moved closer and closer to the next objective.
Yeah.
In Battlefield, the ones that I played concurrently did not seem to move you closer or anything like that, especially Conquest, that game mode. You'd be like, well, you died? Have fun running for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not about that. I want to be more engaged into it. Like, if I die, yes, it's my fault. I get that. But I'm looking for something to be a little bit more fun.
You know what I liked about what I did like about that though? If you were a kid that died a lot, you kept getting like sent back, and like it kind of kept those people like engaged in the battle, but like not constantly feeding themselves to the enemy like again and again and again, which I know is kind of maybe like a shitty. It's a cynical way to look at it.
Yeah,
but like, and yeah, it's not a perfect system, but I did like it for that. But whatever, that's fine. I think that's. Was there anything else from the EA conference that you want to talk about?
I had notes on my own laptop, but I kind of was hoping that you were going to run it. Let me check something real quick. Sorry.
Figure it out. But I mean, so as far as I thought, I wasn't really impressed by EA's conference. I think it was maybe the weakest conference of the weekend.
No, I agree. It was very, like I said, the pacing was weird. Mm-hmm. The games they announced were all things that we kind of expected, and the stuff that we really wanted to learn about it.
Yeah.
They didn't really talk about. Like, they talked about the development teams, and that's cool. That's cool. I'm down with that. But that's not what I'm looking from an E3 press conference.
Yeah.
You can show me that. You can put that on YouTube, and I'll watch that. But
there are always some examples of, like, there's always an example of, like, oh, that's not what I wanted from E3. Like, and I think there were two this year. I think it was EA, and I think it was Ubisoft.
Yeah. Oh, and the third Star Wars game was Battlefront 2. So.
Okay, all right. So we covered that.
Yeah, we covered it.
Was there anything else on the? No. Okay.
Nope. That was it.
Nailed it.
You nailed it.
You keep that window up though, just in case.
Yeah. Well, we don't need the other thing open anyways.
Okay. Sure.
Pardon me if I keep bending away.
Yeah. All right. So we'll move on to Bethesda because that was the next one on Sunday as well.
Ooh. Man. So just from someone that watched all the conferences pretty much from beginning to end and whenever they aired, I didn't wait for them, right? Or I didn't like watch them on demand later on.
Yeah, I did.
Going in from like watching
sucks.
the EA press conference, you're kind of like, that was kind of weak. You know, like it was fine. It had some cool information in it, but like it wasn't what I was really looking for. And then Bethesda comes out, they're like,
you wanted
games.
You wanted a thing, huh?
You wanted news. You
Here's
wanted
all
things
those
that
things.
meant something. And I was like, oh, okay. And like I just sat back and I just let it all come in.
Just let it happen.
And let that be said, I'm not a huge, not Bethesda fan, but I have never been one to get into their games. I just have a difficulty with it. The two way too robust.
Well, the two of their biggest titles are Elder Scrolls, and Fallout, which are both RPGs, which we just talked about, are not necessarily your favorite, and those are like micro management RPGs at times. Like there's like so much, and you have to.
You're over encumbered.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
There's and like I have to I develop like systems in my brain. Like if there's not a 10-to-1 value ratio from weight to sell value, you got to get rid of it. Meanwhile, I've got like 80,000 caps. I'm never gonna use them all, but I still have to like run this cycle in my head.
Man.
Yeah,
gotta have them.
But yeah, so they started out with Quake Championships, right?
Yeah.
Do you want here? I want you to check and see if there's anything else on there. Did you particularly care about Quake Championships? Because I don't, and it's not because I don't like respect the history of Quake. It's just like I have no attachment to it.
No. So my thing is that Quake is a game that I never was like super into, but I'm super excited that it's back because it's such a big part of the gaming community.
Yeah.
It was one of the biggest multiplayer shooters to come out however long ago now. I don't want to look bad by naming it wrong year.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But this game is just something to bring back those fans that were so big into Quake back then that I'm just happy that they have their game back.
I hope it works the way they want it to. The risk of this is bringing back that game and it just not being what fans wanted. And if you think about the risk that they took with Doom, in that, oh dang, that was loud.
Sorry.
If you think about the risk they took with Doom, in that Doom could have really sucked, and it would have like, nothing can destroy your memories of your favorite games. But as a Paper Mario fan, let me tell you,
it's back.
That there are some modern releases that can kind of poison your feelings about a franchise. Like, I will never be able to think of old Paper Mario and how much I loved it without being able to think of new Paper Mario and how much of a disappointment it is.
And how much I hate it.
Well, yeah,
I hate it.
but like you can't really separate those things in your head. You know what I mean? So, like...
I like how you just put,
Yeah, because that's what it was to me. Like, yeah, I wrote little like opinion notes under each one. Quake Championships, 120 frames per second,
which is awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Doom
feelings
did the
about
same
it?
thing.
Feelings? Just whatever.
Like I said, I've never really played a Quake game before, so I can't speak into like how they play or anything like that.
Exactly.
But I'm just excited that it's back for the fans that wanted it.
Yeah. The next thing that was a huge announcement, obviously, was Skyrim Remastered.
Yes.
Which under which I wrote. Yeah. Well, because I know how I feel about that. I wasn't expecting to have my notes analyzed. And they also announced Elder Scrolls Legends, which I don't really give a shit about.
Yeah. Well, that's just an expansion for.
I thought it was like a card.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I had mistaken. Yes, that's the card game for
a Hearthstone-esque Elder Scrolls.
Everyone's trying to get on that market, man. You have Hearthstone.
Electronic trading card games. It's just not really my scene. Like, I appreciate what they are. I have nothing against them. It's the same thing. We're I forget where they were. It might have been Sony, but when the Witcher developers came out, was it Sony or Microsoft conference?
They came out during.
I want to say Microsoft because I remember them being on that smaller screen next to the. Microsoft likes to do that the giant screen in the background and the two screens up front. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was at Xbox.
Nailed it.
Microsoft.
Crushed it. When they came out and announced the Gwent standalone, I was like, hey, that's totally cool. I know people love it. I don't really care.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that there is certainly a target audience out there.
People are going to get that game.
Yeah. I mean, there's an insane number that Blizzard is making off of Hearthstone. A game that's completely free to play, but you can spend money on it to get more stuff. Let me just
tell you this. Okay, so Activision makes money, right?
Oh,
Blizzard, who they own, Activision owns Blizzard. Blizzard knows just how to print money.
Oh my god!
There's something about their IP that just prints money.
The thing is they've been around for so long that they have their fan base they're so loyal that's the key right there.
And consider the fact that they were making hundreds of millions of dollars a month for years off of just World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Oh my god, money.
And on top of that, they were also making money off of like when they had the open market thing for Diablo 3 when it first came out.
Yeah, the gray. I'm gonna say gray market.
Whatever it was, but they were making money just little bits of money.
Yeah.
But people were spending a lot of money on that too until they were like,
until they shut that shit down. Yeah.
But that Hearthstone, man, it's making bank.
Yeah.
And kudos.
It's
Seriously.
like everyone's got to get on that trading card game and that MOBA.
Yeah. Well, it's just like the music game scene, you know.
And Dota.
And Dota.
Wait, no, that's Steam. I know that was based on a Warcraft 3.
I do not know
thing.
Who develops Dota. Please don't rip my head off.
No, Dota is owned by Steam.
Okay.
But the original Dota was Warcraft 3. Not like online multiplayer map thing.
Oh, okay. I thought it was kind of like Arma 3. How they made.
Well, it's so the people. This is getting off track, but the original people who created the game type Dota, I guess, made it via Warcraft 3.
Okay.
Multiplayer maps and stuff like that.
So it's kind of like here's a side project type.
Yeah.
Thing. Okay.
And then
rad.
those people I think were like contracted like later on by an individual company, whether it was Steam or someone else, and then picked up by Steam for just to make Dota 2 exclusively for Steam.
That's right.
Whatever. I might be wrong about some of that. Please don't tell me, but I don't really care.
Anyway, trading card games are big this year.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
like music games were awesome. Very happy about that.
And Skyrim Remastered. We skipped straight to the Legends part.
I know, you went to that.
Sorry, but Skyrim Remastered obviously very cool. Like the thing is, I don't know. I put hundreds of hours. I think it's a really cool announcement.
It was dangerous.
It's an
we lost it for a while.
Sure, it's a really cool announcement. It's really exciting. I don't know if I'm gonna get it. I don't know if I need to play that game again.
Well, the thing is, right, is that those graphics, the updated graphics for it, look fantastic.
They look awesome.
And the other thing is that it might work.
Yeah, man. Well, so okay. Yeah, could you believe that?
Oh.
No, but if you consider
I'm sorry.
like I still haven't finished Witcher 3.
Oh, yeah.
That's like another medieval fantasy RPG that was huge, that was extremely popular. I still haven't finished Dragon Age Inquisition. Like there are
That
games
was looked at a little less.
Yeah, it's less favorably, but like
yeah.
when I think of fantasy RPGs from this generation that I still have to play, like I don't know if I'm really gonna get around to it.
That's true.
I think it's a really cool announcement.
Well, the thing is, right, is that people have been requesting it for years.
Yeah,
You know, like since the consoles came out, they're like, please give us a remastered. It would be fantastic.
I mean, it already exists on PC, which is funny. Like all the remasters are like
they're like free.
They
upgrades.
already exist. Yeah, because you can just mod the game or whatever. But it's always exciting for, especially for people who just want to be able to play that game again while they wait for the next Elder Scrolls title.
One of our friends, Shauna, has been waiting for that game.
Yeah, man.
And she finally got it, and very happy for her because it is for that audience that is requesting it. And it might even get people that never played Skyrim before to get it. You know, that's the big thing about it.
All right, I think we got to start busting through these because I'm gonna have to. We have to go. Like we got time, but you know.
We got like 12 minutes.
No, I got more time than that, but we got to crush it.
Okay.
So,
So
Fallout 4.
Fallout 4 mods are the DLC.
Yeah, some updates. So they're gonna allow you to like build vaults. There's gonna be more build functionality. And then they announced a new DLC, Nuka World, which is going to be like a Far Harbor sized expansion, as far as I understand.
It looks pretty big, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like additional content so much as it is like an entire new map.
Yeah.
To play in.
The thing that kind of sucks though, I feel like correct me if I'm wrong on this, but either Fallout 3, maybe even New Vegas as well, got multiple expansions, right?
Yeah, they so. Not many of you know this. I'm about to reveal something very personal on the show.
Uh-oh.
Fallout New Vegas, I think, is much better than Fallout 3. And I really loved its DLC. Maybe it was the time of my life when I played it, but I thought they were both incredible games, but I loved Fallout New Vegas more. And Fallout New Vegas had like 4, at least, like really big expansions.
Yeah.
And they were accessed through the cardinal compass directions. Like you went all the way north for one of them, all the way east for one of them, all the way south. So I'm pretty sure there were 4 big expansions.
Okay.
And then there was some other content that they released, like gun updates, new ways to acquire like lots of different stuff.
Yeah. So that's the reason why I bring this up is because this is apparently the last DLC that they're releasing for it.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I mean, not, like not giving enough to the player, but That's only 2 major expansions, am I right? So Far Harbor
two
and that?
two map expansions, and then a bunch of like in-world changes. So they brought like the. You're right.
Okay.
You're essentially right. They added more content to the game, but not like big map expansions.
Okay. I mean, it's people. The only thing I feel like people really want in those games more than anything is just be able to explore more things. You know.
I agree. I mean, that's the reason to play the game in the first place. And as far as like I kind of glossed over it, but as far as the build updates and like the the functionality and everything like that, yeah, man, like that's cool. But
that's
like,
awesome.
That's very cool. But like, that is to me the worst part of those games.
Yeah,
and so like increasing functionality and making it better is exciting, right?
Yeah.
But I got the platinum in that game, which means that I maxed out one of the nerd. I maxed out one of the settlements, which was like physically painful to do. Like that was it. I hated every minute of it. So like making that, like bringing building things even more to the forefront, I'm just like I don't care about this.
So. The weird thing is, right, is I played Fallout 4, and I didn't get very far in it because it was exactly what I was expecting it to be, but I didn't want it to be that.
Yeah, you
want
it was
just
different.
Robust, and like, my thing is I like to kind of have games that have like RPG-like elements to it, but have a little bit less content in it so I can, it's a sizable portion, like I can finish it in a timely matter, because I love multiplayer games.
Right.
But my biggest thing, I found myself doing more than anything in that game was building my settlement. Just fucking around in it, and if they were to give me a shelter from the beginning, I would have been like, let's go.
Okay, so definitively the coolest thing about that is the vault building, and I think that would be really cool, but I don't know if I'm going to go back to the game for that. That's kind of how I feel. You know what I mean? Like, we are blessed and cursed in that there are many games to play.
Yes.
And you have to make a call, like, what are the things that you go back to? And you and I kind of make it a mission to play a lot of everything, you know what I mean?
I try to play as much as I can, but Overwatch has taken over my life.
Sure, yeah. And it's like, I just don't know if that's something I can go back to.
I don't blame it, yeah. So, and I can see that for a lot of people.
Then they talked about Prey 2, or I guess just Prey?
So, not Prey 2, it looks like it's just a reboot of the franchise.
Okay, so they had Prey 2 back in the day, and then
it got canned.
It got canned, basically. So that's why when I was watching the conference, I wrote down Prey 2, and then I was like, wait, not Prey 2, question mark?
Yeah.
It's just Prey, and you're not a bounty hunter or anything, which is what they were talking about with Prey 2, which to me sounded really cool.
Yeah,
it seems
sounds
to
like
be more
Grand Theft Auto in open world.
It looked to me to be more of like a horror thing happening
this time.
But like it seems like you got some powers and weapons and stuff like that, so I don't really know. Maybe it's going to be BioShock in that it's like scary and unnerving, but still very like you have power as a character.
I hope so. I mean, anything that uses BioShock's like type of
maybe
manner, I'm about.
We'll see. I don't want to get, but that game is coming out next year, as far as I understand.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't catch a release date. I don't think, but
it might get like the thing is it might get pushed, but when you look at the conferences which like talk about things that are still probably 2 to 3 years down the line at times with the when you factor in delays and everything, it's always exciting to see Bethesda come out and be like, hey, this is stuff you can start getting excited about like right now.
That's usually
right
the go.
Go check it out.
My thing is though, right, is that I think Prey is a little bit further down the line. I think
for some. So I took down the note next year. I don't know like how dead set they are on that, but
yeah. Well, because the same studio is working on Dishonored 2.
Right, which is the next thing I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
Now Bethesda has a lot of resources, but maybe not as much as some of the like. Even
this is just one of their studios. I don't know how many people they have. That's what I'm
saying. I don't know how many people are there. I don't know how much outsourcing they might be doing to other studios for either one of these games.
That's true.
But Dishonored 2 is coming. I played some Dishonored 1.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was cool. I never finished it. And this essentially looks like more Dishonored.
Yeah,
like there's nothing
good or bad.
Yeah, it's like
really
in all the, I think in all the right ways, but they're only going to show you the ways that it looks good.
That's true.
Press conference, so like I guess we'll see what happens, but it looks like more Dishonored, and to me that's exciting for a lot of people, and maybe this one will grab me a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean the game looks cool. Looks like you can actually play between 2 characters, and there's new powers involved with the second character. So it's not like I forget his name.
Corso.
We're gonna get
Corso. I'm saying Corso. My money's on Corso.
Yeah. So, but you get to have him in the game still with all the same powers, and then you also have this new character. Can't remember her name.
Which I think might be an old character. I think it might be the girl that he was supposed to protect.
Well, I didn't play Dishonored 1, so
I didn't finish Dishonored 1.
I'm pretty sure it's his daughter.
I don't know. I don't know what the relationship is there, but I know that he was just like he was a bodyguard that is supposed to protect like the Emperor family, the Empress family, or whatever. So
Game looks cool.
Yeah.
It is something that I was kind of thinking about checking out, but it's all going to matter about what is out during that time.
Yeah.
You know, it's, as I said before, I'm more into multiplayer games than I am into single player. I'll buy a single player game and I'll take little bits out of it as when I'm not able to play with people. That's kind of what I'm doing with Stick of Truth right now. But I don't know, maybe it'll grab me.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So let's move on to Microsoft. We're now in Monday morning. Congratulations, we made it.
An entire day, or actually in this case, however many days
it's a
to
long
skip
episode.
by.
So Microsoft, when I was initially, this is another meta conversation, I guess, but Microsoft's conference I thought was really awesome.
It was really strong.
I think they did a really good job, and until the Sony conference, I just thought it was the best one that was happening.
Yeah, and
because later on we hit Ubisoft, and I thought that was, you know.
Yeah, no. So the problem was that Ubisoft's ran way too long.
It was way too long. They did like 20-minute interviews with every goddamn developer under the sun. Like, it just wasn't. It was paced poorly, and they had actually a lot of games that I was excited to see. But, but whatever, we'll get there eventually.
Ubisoft does a great job with their games. They make them very appealing.
Yeah.
Now, when you get them, they're somewhat disappointing.
That's
The
typically
Division. Hashtag The Division.
that's typically the arc. Yeah.
But you know.
So like you see it and you're like, oh cool, and then they show more and you're like, oh cool, and then they get them and you're like,
And then you like Watch Dogs 1.
yeah. So, but we're on Microsoft right now, and they announced 2 new consoles basically, which I think is a bold move.
It's a bold move, Cotton.
It's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it works out, and I don't think it will.
So my thing is is that they did a great job with trying to distinguish between the two consoles.
Yeah.
So like, and Phil Spencer's even going on Twitter and people are asking like, which one should I get? And he's like, if you don't have a 4K television, it's not worth it to get the Scorpio.
Yeah.
If you want just a new console that can run your games better, that is going to be the Xbox Slim.
Yeah. So, as far as what I have for the Slim is that it's slimmer, cheaper, will support 4K and HDR, which I don't really know what that means. I know what 4K means, but there's no power brick and there's no Kinect support, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, it looks like they're abandoning.
Just leaving it dead in the streets, which frankly I appreciate.
Well, it's only taken them 2 generations to figure it out.
And then it should be coming out in August.
There's actually 3 versions of the new console of the Slim coming out. There's a 500 gigabyte which is going to be released in August. Mm-hmm. The other 2 are rumored to come out in holiday.
Okay, so I think the Slim is a good idea. As far as they go, I think the Slim is a good idea.
It's always a good idea to refresh the console after a couple of years.
I felt less good about the Sony 4K or whatever. I don't think that is the weird thing is I don't think that's the point of this one. Whereas I think Sony with the Neo is almost a misstep because they're upgrading a console that doesn't necessarily need upgrading. Yeah. I think this is bringing kind of the Xbox One up to the level of the PS4 with the Slim, and I think that's like the right call. As far as form factor. The internal power supply, the cheap, the price. I think
pricing is the same.
That's all.
That's what they needed.
A good call.
Absolutely.
I think front to back, good call. Mm-hmm. The Scorpio, I kind of feel the same way as I do about the PlayStation Neo, where I'm like, I don't know if that's necessary. I think it's better to keep going smaller, lighter, cheaper, as far as the console refreshes go.
Yeah.
And I think you risk splitting the player base, and I don't think that's a good idea. Or alienating old fans.
Well, that's the thing that's what I was kind of saying is that with the Scorpio, they had like a 5 to 6 minute interviews with people kind of describing what it's capable of, but also making sure to not alienate those players that have the old consoles.
Yeah, but the reality of the situation is it is going to alienate those.
Somewhat. So the thing is, is that
they're not going to talk about that.
It'll play all the games.
Yeah.
They're like, it's not going to stop that.
Sure.
It's going to go through. It's going to play them just the same. The only difference really right now that we can tell is just the graphical upgrades. There will obviously probably be performance matters later on. But
what I don't like about this is that it kind of turns the console market into a more similar thing to the PC market, where even the people with the best PCs are going to be limited by the people with the worst PCs that the company is trying, that any given company is trying to cater to.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you might be spending $400, $500 on a new console with like promises of like upgraded graphical capabilities and everything like that. But ultimately, like, the developers still have to cater and make sure that the game is going to run on whatever the most basic shit is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, I don't get it, and like, it seems to make like maybe a little bit more work for developers, and I don't understand it either. But like, this is not. I'm too. How do I say this without insulting people who do want it? Like, there's the more pragmatic part of me would not let me purchase this if I wasn't concerned about that, or maybe if I had more money, like, to put it, that simply, like, I would totally be down.
So the thing is, right, is that it's an investment all the way around. If you have a 4K television, then it is worth it to get this console.
Probably. And if you have a 4K television, you probably have some money to burn.
Exactly. Now, with this said as well, is that this console is not rumored to come out until next year. With that, we don't know if 4K technology is going to become cheaper and more accessible to the general public. Yeah. So, with that said, this could be just another step in the game. You know, like, you can almost look at it like the 2DS, 3DS. 2DS is really just the garbage version of it, but it still functions.
Yeah, but like,
it's just
that means that I have the garbage version.
So,
and I didn't buy it because
I bought the garbage.
We both bought a 2DS,
yes,
knowing full well that it was the garbage version.
So,
but like, when I purchased my PS4 and when I purchased my Xbox One, I am not buying the garbage version. You know what I mean?
So you have to look at it in some light. You know, yes, it is kind of alienating people, I guess, but you know, at the same time, it is just a luxury piece. You don't need it.
Yeah.
You know, so the only thing that I would really want, like, for example, the Neo for, is just so my console doesn't sound like it's a fucking rocket being launched into space.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I want, right? But the Scorpio, or even the Xbox, I really don't hear that problem with. So there won't be a need for me to upgrade to the Scorpio.
Fair enough.
It's appealing because I'm a hardcore gamer, so I'm like, man, I kind of need the best of everything if I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But I get brought back to the Nintendo 2DS thing. Like, do I care about 3D?
No.
Do I care about 4K? No. It's not something I need. And that's kind of the way I am looking at it.
All right, so let's now I really do have to move. So let's crush through this. Right. So the next thing that I have is Gears 4. Looks real good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's most, like, I don't know if there's nothing noteworthy about it,
about the game,
except for the fact that it just looks really good.
Looks really pretty.
Like, it looks really good. It looks like more Gears. It looks
characters have personality.
Isn't that a show?
So they're like, they gave the characters a little bit of personality, but like the main character is kind of just like this stick up his ass person,
dude, yeah.
You know, Phoenix. But this time around, it seems that every character has a little bit more personality to each one of them, and I like that a lot. Plus Laura Bailey voicing Kat, I'm down with.
And appearing on the Microsoft stage.
I love Laura Bailey. I love her so much.
I think Recore looked fine.
They didn't even say anything about it. I was just like, this is showing a video.
So my problem with Recore is that the platforming looks like it's from like a generation or two ago.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't look like fluid or cool necessarily, and maybe it was just a poor impression. The combat is interesting in the swapping out like companions and stuff like that, but I'm wondering if it will be that fluid. I'm wondering if it is going to be like, hey bro, come hang out with me now. Like, I'm going to use this guy now, or if it's going to be like, you're in this part of the game, so you get to use this companion. Like, I think there's a lot of things to worry about with that game.
It also could be like, oh, here's an upgrade. You know, like, this is now the character you have, or whatever it might be. So,
yeah. And Dead Rising 4 was talked about.
Dead Rising 4 looks awesome. Yeah. Bring back Frank West. The other awesome part about it, not Xbox One exclusive.
Yeah, I did.
Timed exclusive.
Yeah, so like, I don't know. I didn't, like, I never played the Dead Rising games prior to Dead Rising 3. And then I played Dead Rising 3 a little bit and like was just like, yeah.
Well, Dead Rising 3 was a hot piece of shit.
Yeah, I didn't think it was great. So the thing is, like, that was my entry point and exit point from the series.
Yeah, there's a funny joke I'll try to remember to make it during the Sony press conference, because it's about what was called Dead Don't Ride.
We're gonna get there. I'm glad they changed that name.
I like that name.
That was a little silly. They talked about Forza Horizon 3, which is the more arcadey version of Forza.
Yep, 4-player drop-in, drop-out co-op, which is cool.
Looks cool.
I'm just not into racing games.
Yeah, neither am I. The good thing about us wanting to like move fast is that there's not a lot of things that I actually care to talk about.
Yeah. Well, actually, one thing I think is really cool before we move on from Microsoft is they're not saying just like Xbox One exclusive anymore. They're like Xbox One and Windows 10 exclusive.
Yeah, I don't need to own an Xbox One anymore.
No. So the thing is, right, is like I have an Xbox One and now I have a Windows 10 PC, and them actually allowing you to play seamlessly between the two of them, as well as being able to play with people on both PC and console, is cool.
That's cool as shit.
You know, it's in multiplayer games, it's a little iffy because obviously PC gamers technically have more of an advantage with the mouse and keyboard.
Sure.
But it's just a cool aspect that they're incorporating more players together.
So I have. So then the next one is Tekken. I don't really care about Tekken. Do you care about Tekken? It's exciting
like
that it's coming back.
in it.
Yeah, it's coming back. So that's cool.
Yeah, Kuma's in it.
And then Sea of Thieves, which I think could be really good, could be really bad. I'm not really sure where that game's going to go yet.
It looks interesting, but I can't tell if it's going to be good or not yet.
Exactly. Yeah, I think there's a lot there that could be great. And I'm getting I get like Rust vibes, and I get excited because I'm like, oh man, you just fucking betray everyone. But it seems like you're starting off in designated teams, so it's not really quite the same.
Yeah, I like how you move on from the Microsoft conference, but there's still some awesome games we haven't talked about.
Sure. Yeah. No, we can definitely cover this.
We Happy Few.
Yeah. Okay. So that looks
baby,
really
can't
good.
wait.
That I mean, like the reason I didn't put it on my list was one, during the conference I was too enamored, and two, I don't really know a lot about that game. Like like the trailer that we saw, and I guess it was like maybe a short gameplay preview, looks awesome, but like I don't actually know what the game is. Like that's like one segment of the game. And it looks like you leave and maybe go out into a world that like what is it?
So apparently it plays more like what's that game you played on PC? You did not Rust, but the zombie one.
DayZ?
It's supposed to play like DayZ.
World War Z?
I think it's supposed to be. It's supposed to play like that. Where it's one, it gave me heavy Bioshock influences.
Initially, yeah.
And I'm all about that. Apparently, the gameplay is going to be a little bit different.
Okay.
But the thing it's just anything with that kind of vibe. Like I am into that like kind of suspense kind of game. That anything that Bioshock 1, I'm down with.
Right.
The only thing that I am not a fan of is that they're doing like early access for Xbox One fans that own it, but you only get to play 40% of the game.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, so I was like, I'll buy this game if you allow me to play all of it, but I guess it's kind of like we're not done with it yet, but you get to like try the 40% of it and let us know.
Yeah.
But the other thing was Halo Wars 2, dude. Anyway, it's awesome RTS.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's an awesome RTS for a console.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I just like, like I don't, the Halo just doesn't do it for me anymore, like I don't really know if I care.
I get that, but that's a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like of the first party exclusives, that actually might be the one that I would most enjoy playing.
Probably.
Because I do like Gears, but like I don't love Gears, So I know you do. And okay, so another like meta conversation about conferences itself. As far as Microsoft's conference, I think in my E3 I like maybe like 66% just games or like 75% games, and then like I like to hear what the company is doing for its ecosystem. So they did, like you were kind of saying, they were putting in a lot of stuff about like playing Xbox One, to PC, like being able to transfer your saves over, like play seamlessly or whatever. Like they were talking about the changes they were making to the community environment, things like that. Like that stuff is actually pretty exciting to me. Like those are cool announcements. So and at the Sony conference, which we'll get to, there was none of that. It was just games, which is like oh yeah, cool. But I do like to hear a little bit about that stuff.
I mean, we'll get to the Sony conference, but
sure. Do you know what I mean though? Or
yeah, no, I got you.
Okay,
It's for me.
I'm not totally
Sony's conference was the best conference of all time for me.
Okay.
But anyway, what I wanted to just touch on was the things that you were talking about with the ecosystem clubs, basically like communities for PS4. That we have looking for group, which if you ever use Destiny LFG like I have before, super convenient that it's on console and you can do it for any game. That's awesome, super cool. And the last thing is Arena, which is just tournaments on Xbox Live, which should have been implemented a long time ago.
Yeah.
But happy that it's at least being done.
So it's all cool, and like PlayStation doesn't have a lot of similar things, like you say, like Arena should have been implemented a long time ago. Like PlayStation doesn't have anything like that.
No, but that's the thing is that Xbox gamers seem to be more heavily into the multiplayer atmosphere.
So that's why I think I don't know. I think those kinds of announcements are cool, and they kind of like. It's not just like in Sony you hear about these things in terms of their updates, like update like 3.5 or whatever brings functionality to PC and Mac, and you can like, which is a really cool function, but like that would have been really cool as an E3 announcement. Like they were talking about it at E3 and it's available tomorrow, like it's happening tomorrow, you know, things like that. And I'm glad they didn't wait because I've used it a few times now and it's nice.
Yeah.
But I do like those announcements at my press conferences.
No, I gotcha.
And then we move on to Ubisoft. We're gonna spend 5 minutes on Ubisoft, and then maybe like 5 minutes on Sony. I'm
Eagle
sorry.
Flight looks like trash.
We gotta crush it. No, Eagle Flight looks like the best thing that's ever happened to mankind.
Trash. Don't waste any time.
We don't have time for this. It's the
trash.
best thing that's ever happened to mankind. Period. Shut up. Watch Dogs 2 looks real cool.
I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, you like San
Location.
Francisco more than anything else. Yep.
Love it.
I think it is going to be the Assassin's Creed 2 to the Watch Dogs franchise. I think that there was a lot of shit that was pretty wrong with Watch Dogs,
but it
was a
potential.
solid foundation.
Exactly.
And I always think about Borderlands, about how Borderlands 1 was a really solid foundation, but there wasn't a lot to like love there, and then Borderlands 2 comes out, crushes it. I think about Assassin's Creed, solid foundation, Assassin's Creed 2 crushes it.
Exactly.
So
that's why I'm super confident. And this is kind of like what I was saying as well. I don't know if I said it to anybody like on the podcast, but Ubisoft's sequels always much better than the original.
To a point. Eventually you get to a point where you're tired of those sequels.
I meant from 1 to 2.
Sure, yeah.
Right? So Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed 2, for example. You have, what was it? I lost it. Can't get it back. But anyway, I believe that Watch Dogs 2 is going to be incredible. And not only for its location and the setting that it's in, but just in general. I think that it has, as you said, such a good base to go off of that I think that there's so much there that they could do with, and I'm super excited about it.
For Honor had a really cool trailer, and
that's the guy that I was telling you about.
Yeah, the guy
that kills it every presentation.
I think that's going to be an awesome game.
Can't wait.
But I think we still need to know more about it, and I think we're going to be hearing about it for at least next E3.
No, it comes out February of next year.
We'll see.
No, that's the release date they said, but we will see.
We'll see.
Game looks awesome. It reminds me of Rise on the Xbox One.
That's a good thing. Yeah, okay, all right.
No, so
that's fine.
It doesn't, not exactly, you know,
Sure,
I don't know what the story mode for it or anything like that's going to be, but the fact that it's almost like a full immersion type of combat. You don't have a HUD. You just have straight on, you're a guy. You have to go through. You have to complete your objective.
I think that's cool. And then you have South Park: The Fractured But Whole.
So good. It looks fantastic.
It looks okay. So this one is actually super easy for me to talk about because it looks like the original South Park, but just better.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you get better from that? You fix it. Yeah, you fix the combat, and you just have more South Park. And I think that they crushed it. The thing is, I hope they didn't do so. They did so much with the original South Park that I mean, you could never say this about the South Park guys, but like, I hope they didn't like run out of.
They've been doing this.
I know, but like, I hope that it can be as special as the original, because a lot of times sequels, like you're like, oh man, the original was incredible, the sequel will be just as good, and it looks like it will be, but there's always that fear.
I don't know if you heard this, but they're like, I think this might be the future of how we tell South Park stories.
Hey man.
So they might, I don't know if that means that they're going to be done with television altogether, but maybe they want to do like big movie type things.
No, but
into games.
No matter what, it does say something about how deeply they believe in this product.
Exactly.
So that coming from those guys, as passionate as they are, I think that really means something.
Yeah. Stick of Truth is awesome so far. I haven't beat it yet, but my only complaint with it is that I feel like the world is a bit small.
Right. It kind of is, but
I'm sure there's like dungeons, is like essentially what you would call, and it's really vast that way. But in terms of explorable area, there's not a lot from where I've seen.
So we got to keep moving. So Steep looks boring. It looks like beautiful, but like I don't know if I would care.
It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd care to play it at all.
Yeah, so it's hard to say because I would have to try it out to see how I like it, but it's hard to tell, and I don't know if I want to spend $60 on it to see if it's an experience that I want.
Sure.
You know, I'm gonna wait, see what happens, see if there's more gameplay video, but they showed a lot. It's just maybe it's just not for me.
Yeah, exactly. Star Trek Bridge Crew. I think it's laughable that you could ever get that many VR headsets in a room. But, but conceptually, I think it's interesting. And yeah, this is when I realized, like, oh, we don't need all these interviews. Especially because they had him in an interview, and they were like, let's bring him out to interview him. And I was like, he was just there. Why are you making him come out here again? Yeah, it's cool, but like, I didn't need that.
I guess.
Okay,
but you got to see the touching moment between him and Aisha Tyler.
You cut LeVar Burton, you saved 20 minutes. And that's the thing. Like, that conference was too long.
Yeah, it was. It was way too long. Just Dance was also a problem.
Yeah.
It came out in style, very energetic, but.
But I also super don't care about Just Dance.
I don't either.
And I feel bad because I feel like I'm saying that a lot, but there are a lot of games that I do care about. But like Just Dance is not on that list. Whatever. Ghost Recon Wildlands, speaking of games I care about.
Ooh.
That looks real cool.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, and I hope it is as awesome as it looks like it's going to be, and it's not going to be like The Division.
Dude, that's my problem.
That's my greatest fear.
So the thing
we
is
talked about the Ubisoft arc. Yeah. I'm at the peak of that arc right now. It's only down.
So I don't know if you guys were there during the time where we were talking about Division last E3 and how hyped Jack was. He's like, this is going to be the greatest game ever to be fucking created.
Again, as far as a concept for a game, that was incredibly exciting,
great.
But
so
it just didn't pan out.
What I'm thinking, right, is that, as we said, Ubisoft's second version of their games are usually better. Ghost Recon is an established franchise.
Yeah.
But this is the first time that they're going open world.
Yeah.
I think that is going to use the problems that they see in the Division to bring it over a little bit.
I'd like to think so.
But obviously Division is a different kind of game. That is a, massively multiplayer online game in terms of like builds and making certain weapons and how they drops and all that. It's not going to be like that, but in terms of the open world aspects of it, I think they'll learn from a little bit of the Division.
By the way, video viewers, I'm sorry I keep staring at my crotch. It's really distracting. No, I'm actually just checking my phone. I have to keep an eye on the time.
I'm trying to keep you guys engaged over there on the video. How are you doing?
What's up? Hey, baby. No, okay, so was there anything else from the Ubisoft conference that you wanted to talk about?
No, I don't think so.
Sony it is. Sony crushed it. Sony had so many games to care about. And I feel bad that we don't have enough time to like go in depth with each one of them.
Yeah.
As far as I know, they started with... So, first of all, having another meta conversation, having a full live orchestra underscore every moment in your conference is a good call.
It's fucking dope.
Yeah, and it's classy, and it's awesome.
Yep.
And I think it really raises the bar for their future press conferences, and it kind of like... It's like, hey, everyone else...
This entire press conference is pretty much, in my personal opinion, is like right here. Everything else is like here.
And Microsoft's, I think, is somewhere in the middle. Because, again, I think they did a really good job.
Microsoft did a great job.
Between here and here, I think Microsoft's, like, right there.
Yeah, they did a great job, I'll tell you. But it's the way that Sony was just like, oh, you know how everyone was just talking about, like, especially like EA?
Yeah.
Here's just games. Announcement. Games.
And as far as I know, unless I'm remembering incorrectly, I think God of War 4, or God of War whatever it's going to be called, was the first one.
Yeah. It's going to just be called God of War. It's
God of War...
No, just God of War.
Just God of War. They're not going to put any. Maybe I guess they won't. But
almost so it's a soft reboot, is what a lot of people are calling it.
Yeah.
Where the stuff in the original trilogy has happened.
You can tell from the scar on his chest where he got stabbed with a big sword.
But this time around, it's going to be through Norse mythology. So he's probably going to try to become a God of War through there. It's the only thing we could assume.
Yeah.
So it's a soft reboot of the franchise. The thing is, okay. Yeah, I'll let you go first.
Did Kratos learn nothing? At the end of God of War 3, spoilers, not really, but like he kind of has some like revelations, right? Mm-hmm. And is like maybe not as rageful when he finishes his quest, right? Mm-hmm. And then you open up with this trailer and he's like he has a relationship with another person who's younger than him that he has to take care of, which immediately kind of like means something as like a character.
Yep.
And like I'm like cool. And then like I think about what does God of War mean? Is he going to be like? I have some guesses about what's going to happen in the story, but is he literally going to have this relationship, this implied character growth, and then just go fucking murdering his way through the Norse pantheon? Like what? I don't know what that means for God of War.
This also could just be like that. It could just be like the prologue to the story.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like I have some guesses.
This like you play as the son for the rest of the series.
Maybe. Okay, so
because one thing, right, is that during the trailer they show, or the gameplay trailer, they go through and they show the knowledge upgrade, right?
Yeah.
Kratos isn't learning that. He was teaching.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I get that. I think it's either that or they kill that kid.
It could be very
that
well
kid dies, and all of a sudden Kratos is like, "Oh, I'm broken again," and he goes on a killing rampage.
It's certainly possible.
I think it's probably one or the other.
But in terms of the game itself, looks incredible.
It looks really
graphics.
good, yeah.
Obviously a vertical slice, but it still looks great.
Yeah.
The combat and the camera angle, the combat itself, right, is much more like Dark Souls like. I feel much
things
more.
I think are much more. Yeah, I was gonna say things are much more. Not decisive, like thoughtful.
Okay.
Like you're not just like swinging wildly.
Mm-hmm.
Things have like weight. Like each attack is going to mean something.
Yes.
I think that's kind of what people are comparing it to Dark Souls, and I think it's the same thing. Like every attack is a risk, especially if you're going to be fighting like ice trolls all the time.
Exactly.
So I think that looks really good. They showed a bunch of stuff for VR that I didn't really care about.
Yeah.
They showed Call of Duty, which doesn't really mean much to me, and like all these other VR demos like are nothing to me until they're games.
That's true.
Like I don't really see anything to be excited about until I know that there's a game company.
The only one that I'm like super excited for, as far as like VR compatible, Resident Evil 7.
That's the next thing I was going to get to.
Yeah.
So they used all this VR stuff to kind of lead into Resident Evil 7 via the kitchen demo, and I don't know. That looks cool. I'm excited for people. I'm not like a horror guy, so I don't really like horror movies or horror games. I'm a big baby. No, we've talked about my problems with horror games before. I just can't get into them. But
no, I'm kind of the same way. But the thing is one, it's refreshing to see that Resident Evil is going back to their roots. Right.
The actual horror roots.
Yes, they're one of the best to do it. Why would you go away from it? But anyway, very excited about it because even with the VR compatibility, it's just another step to go through and just give you full immersion into it. And my girlfriend is a fucking horror freak and loves it all, so it's like I would like to play that with her and we could both get scared and all this shit, so that I'm very excited about that.
We gotta get through the rest of these. Unfortunately, I have to like go in like 30 seconds. So they Insomniac talked to not Insomniac. Sucker
for
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is Insomniac.
It is Insomniac?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. No, everyone thought it was going to be Sucker Punch.
Everyone thought it was going to be Sucker Punch.
Okay.
It is Insomniac.
That's really cool.
Awesome.
Looks good. There's not a lot of, like... I didn't think there was a lot of gameplay for you to really base a lot of opinions on.
No, but everything that was shown in that trailer, all in-engine.
Ideally,
it'll be original PlayStation 4.
Ideally, it'll be really good.
Ideally. I think it's going to be fucking rad.
I think so. I'm trying to like temper my expectations because the Division hurt me so bad. Kojima came out for Death Stranding, which like it's more important to me that Kojima is out there on a Sony stage working on something than the fact that I saw a trailer that doesn't mean shit to me.
Kojima!
I just don't understand what that is. I don't get it. I'm
not supposed to get it yet.
Maybe I'm not smart enough. I'm tired of that with Kojima things. Like just
let it happen.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. I just like I don't.
There's a lot of like things that people were saying about.
I don't need another series that I don't understand.
We'll find out.
But we'll see what happens. Okay.
Margaritas, I love him.
Yeah, it just looks weird as fuck, and that's my note. Death Stranding, weird as fuck.
So on mine, right? If I can find it, it's like looks weird. ... Fucking awesome.
Okay, so Horizon had a gameplay demo. That game just keeps looking better.
It does look incredible.
Yeah.
My only fear with it is that I feel like it's going to be like a Bethesda game for me.
Maybe.
And it's going to have too much content.
Yeah.
I want to play it so bad though.
Yeah. Days Gone came out. That game looks really awesome as well. It looks like kind of. You said you like Dead Don't Ride. I prefer Days Gone.
It's cool too, but I like the Dead Don't Ride too.
Yeah.
I think that's rad.
Dead Don't Ride's like it's just a little too hokey. It doesn't. Now that we've actually seen the game, Dead Don't Ride doesn't really seem to match the feel of the title.
Yeah, I guess.
I feel like that could have been like Project Dead Don't Ride, or like that could have been the working title for the game.
It was.
But I have a feel. Okay, yes, but I have a feeling that. Like when they actually considered the tone of the game, they're like, "This is a little idiosyncratic,"
Well, it wasn't until about a year ago that they filed the patent for Days Gone.
Yeah.
So.
And then Last Guardian came out with
before we go away from Days
Gone,
right? So. When I was bringing it back with Dead Rising 3, they shit all over Dead Rising 3 because Dead Rising 3 dropped to below 25 frames per second. When there was too many zombies on the goddamn screen.
Yeah,
and this game has like 200 zombies coming at you at once. No frame rate issues, vertical slice. No frame rate issues.
I think that game's going to be really awesome.
Oh, I can't wait.
Last Guardian came out with just a trailer. Yeah, like I already didn't care about that game, and I think for a game that's been in development for like 7 years,
It looks fine.
like whatever, you know. It's
I'm
just,
not gonna
like,
touch it.
I don't. There's no way that game lives up to any kind of expectations.
No.
It's going to be a disappointment.
It's going to be a
pretty
loss.
much no
It's
matter
going
what. Yeah.
They're going to take a big hit on it. But
Crash Bandicoot
awesome.
Bash
Very
Bandicoot.
happy about that.
was announced.
Very happy about that.
He came out as a shadow of. Dude, I can't remember.
I can't remember his name either.
Okay, whatever.
I'm sorry, we failed you.
Yeah, he came out. They're remastering quote from the ground up, which hopefully means like a full remaster or a full remake almost. You know, of the first 3.
Correct. Yeah. So
Crash
one,
games.
Wrath of Cortex, and
Something else.
I can't remember the last one.
That's very cool for fans. I think I might play it just to like feel a little nostalgia. You know. Warped. Sure. Was there anything else you wanted to say about that?
About Crash Bandicoot?
Yeah, because I'm about to bust right through.
I'm just I'm happy that they're coming out. It's a franchise that it can't hurt to try to bring back. You know, it's just something that PlayStation doesn't have right now, which is that platformer. So it can't hurt to bring it back. That's what my feeling is, and it's a big franchise. So.
And then was there anything else from the Sony
from the conference?
Yeah. That you
Batman Arkham VR, I'm hearing nothing but fantastic things about.
Yeah, I mean that's another. That was kind of lumped in with my VR thing, where I'm just like, yeah, it looks cool, but like I wonder if it'll be like a real full game, and I want to check it out before I render too much of an opinion on it.
Yeah, no, I got you. It's just it apparently is getting like rave reviews about how rad it is. So that is one thing that is appealing to me about PlayStation VR. Right now, I'm still not sold on it because it's going to be $500+ for me.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, the next thing we would talk about is probably Nintendo, but as far as I can tell, they showed like 2 or 3 games.
They showed Pokemon, which they
most of
made
them
easier.
are through 3DS.
Yep.
Which
Legend of Zelda, which looks cool.
Legend of Zelda does look cool, but we've had so many conversations about how I think both have a hard time supporting Nintendo these days.
Yeah.
And like this is just further evidence of that. Like just
it's
a
funny
bunch of 3DS games and then like one game that looks incredible, Zelda, but like I don't want to play it on my dying Wii U console as they usher in the new baby and they just kick the old one out.
Well, so, I'm just happy that this game is finally coming out for the people that bought a Wii U, so you feel like you are getting something out of it.
Yeah.
With that said, they are coming out with it on NX as well, and I'd feel bad if you didn't get on an NX, because you have to imagine they're doing something for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel bad for Nintendo fans in general. I feel like you guys have been screwed over, but I'm hoping that this at least makes you feel a little bit better about your purchase.
So is there anything else you want to talk about as far as E3 goes?
No, E3 was awesome this year.
Definitely.
Sony, I think, killed it. Microsoft did really well. Do not want to take anything away from Microsoft. They did awesome. Ubisoft just cut it down a little bit next year. Bethesda, keep doing you, boo-boo.
Yeah.
And then EA,
Straighten up.
give us some more Star Wars, goddammit.
So I think that's it.
That's pretty much it.
As far as I'm concerned, we've thoroughly covered E3. Thank you so much for watching. I am at Jack is Gaming on Twitter. Fred is at Fred_Sully.
That's right.
Follow us both on the Knerds podcast, at Knerds Podcast.
Yes,
On
it's at Knerds
Twitter.
Podcast.
I keep wanting to say at Nerds Online, but that's the name. No. For future updates about what we're going to do with our few and talents,
crazy
with our
ideas.
poor talents and our few ideas. We'll see what happens.
We're going to see what happens. We appreciate you guys sticking around with us, figuring out what we're doing.
Yeah. We'll have a more formalized episode where we actually go out and ask for questions in the next week or 2.
Yeah. So, thank you guys seriously for sticking around. I know it's been a weird month for us.
Yeah, a few updates.
It's just once we heard about Sean's whole situation,
Not really
we
that
kind of got put into scramble mode.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to figure it out since.
We also weren't really allowed to say anything about it, so it's kind of hard to talk to you guys, who we're usually very open with, and then also not tell someone else's secrets.
I try to talk to you guys and be like, we're announcing something soon. Please just be patient with us, and thank you for doing so. With that said, we're going to work with you guys to see how we can make this better. We're going to take your recommendations, ask some questions, figure out what we can do to try to appeal to you more. And that's kind of really what it's coming down to right now. I'm very excited. Also a little bit stressed out because now I feel like a lot of the burden is falling upon me for editing and everything like that.
It was Sean partially before, but you know, it's just bear with me for a while.
We'll figure it out. I'm going to be learning some stuff too to help out.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, of course. It's on both of us, and I think we're good. I mean, like, is there anything else that you want to cover?
Just follow us on Twitter, as we have the Twitter handles below. Follow Nerds Podcast. Visit nerdsonline.com.
Sorry we had to rush through today's episode.
Yeah, I blame him.
Sorry, no, it is my fault. Sorry.
Yeah, but visit nerdsonline.com. We're hoping to get more articles up there.
Content, yeah, we gotta.
It's just been a weird month, as we said.
Yeah.
And then just subscribe to us on YouTube. Cool. Give us a review on iTunes, the whole 9. We appreciate everything you guys do, and just let us know what you think. Give us some feedback.
And as always, I don't want to, like, I think good game is Sean's thing.
I think so as well.
So I'm going to go with, until we come up with something better, thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. Much appreciated. Much love.
That's not going to be it.
Oh, it's going to be it.
That's not it.
Much love.
And if you like that video, make sure you guys don't subscribe, don't share, and don't like the video. In fact, just click off and leave.
You trying to use reverse psychology on the internet?
Hello. Nope. That's going to be a no. It's going to be a no right there. Put
Oh,
that shit at the end.